Gusto mo bang malaman ang pagkakaiba ng mayaman sa tunay na mayaman? Meron ba nun? Of course! Panoorin mo ito! Hi there, this is Ching Kitan, also known as Mr. Ching Positive. Thank you very much for supporting this channel, subscribing on this channel. Napakasaya ko po dahil po parami na po ang mga nag-iipon, parami na po ang ikang gumiginhawa at yung mayayaman. Kaya kung gusto nyo po maging kasabi po ng mga iponaryos, please do subscribe on this channel and don't forget to click the bell button. Pag may mga bagong videos, manonotify po kayo kaagad. Okay, ang pag-uusapan po natin ang difference ng mga mayayaman sa tunay na mayayaman. Yung mga tinatawag nating real rich at saka yung mga fake rich. Meron bang real rich and fake rich? No. It's just my term. Pero sa totoo lang, no, mayroon talagang pagkakaiba. Huwag na natin patagalin. Ano bang pagkakaiba po? 10 things that we can learn from the real rich. Number 1, real rich people are what? Humble. Humble sila. Oo. Yung mga fake rich, mayayabang yan. Sa totoo lang ang mga tunay na mayaman, hindi sila nagpapakita ng kanilang kayamanan. So, sobrang simple. They don't want to show off. Again, hindi naman masama kung if you show off you sometimes your wealth. Wala namang problema yon. Pero yung talagang tunay talaga, makikita mo talaga kung magsuot sila. Napakasimple lang. Hindi mo pagkakamalang talagang mayaman. Alam mo, minsan nga pumunta kami sa isang bangko. Hindi ko makalimutan to. Sa bangko, nakaano lang, sando lang, saka naka-short, nakabayong. Yung nasa harap ko. Sabi ko, grabe no, pupunta ng bangko, parang pupunta ng palengke. Pero nung magde-deposito na, binaliktad ng bayong. Bugkos na pera. Tagtang 1,000. Sabi ko, how to be you? Diba? Humble Kasi ayaw nila magpakita. Diba? That's number 1 sign. Number 2 sign of the real rich. Ito pa, second sign ng mga real rich is this. They do not think themselves as what? Rich. Hindi nila niisip na sila ay mayaman. Alam mo, kanino ko to natutunan? The late Gokong Wei. Na kahit na mayaman na siya, alam mo ginagawa niya? Ini-empty niya yung kanyang bank account. No, nakikita niya, ini-empty niya. Para iniisip niya na wala pa siyang pera, na mahirap pa rin siya. So, he will work what? Harder. Diba? So, ibang klase talaga. Not unlike the fake rich. Pag kumita lang, anong ginagawa? Inuubos na agad ang pera. Kain dito, kain doon, bakasyon dito, bakasyon doon, shopping dito, shopping doon. Yun. Parang iniisip na nila na mayaman na sila. Pero sa totoo lang, sa ginagawa nila, yung pag kinontinyo, maghihirap sila ulit. Number 3. Third thing that I've learned from the real rich is this. They are frugal. When I say frugal, marunong talagang maghigpit ng sindoron. Hindi sila kuripot, sila? Wise buyers. Wise sila. How do you know that they are wise buyers? Despite of them becoming rich, they know how to bargain. They know how to negotiate. Hindi sila nahihiya na tumawad. Yun ang isang sign na talaga ng tunay na mayaman. Kaya nga sila yumaman hindi dahil sa sobrang waldas sila. Kaya nga minsan nagsasabi, like for example, piso lang, tatawaran mo pa, piso. Hindi naintindihan ng tao yan. Oo, piso nga tinawaran, pero ang volume na o-order niya, 1 million. Oo, 1 million pieces. Piso nga yun, di ba? Pag naka-discount ka ng 1 peso, sa 1 million pesos ang magdi-discount mo. Huwag mong mamaliitin ang piso because rich people, real rich people know that principle. Let's go to number 4. Real rich people, alam mo, they prioritize savings. They save before they spend. They spend after they save. Nagigets nyo? They save before they spend. They spend after they save. Hindi sila gumagastos na walang savings. Yan ang napansin ko. Kaya nga sila multi-millionaire. Kaya nga sila bilyonaryo Kasi marunong sila mag-ipon. Hindi yung mga iba, ang binibili na lang iPhone, hindi iPhone. Wala namang problema kung may iPhone ka. May iPhone din naman ako. Pero make sure lang, galing sa savings yan. Hindi galing sa utang. Let's go to number 5. Fifth things that I've learned from the real rich is this. They make decision based on facts, not with their feelings. Isa pa. Yun yung natutunan ko sa mga when I walk with rich people, yun yung napansin ko talaga. Hindi sila emotional when it comes to decision-making process, when it comes to business, when it comes to investment. Hindi po feelings ang pinapairal. Ang pinapairal po ito, facts, numbers, figures. Let's look at the data. Let us not look what are, kunyari, nagpapanik yung mga tao, especially when it comes to the stock market. When you invest based on feelings, kawawa ka pa. When the stock market is high, mataas ang BP mo. When the stock market is low, mababa ang BP mo. Pero yung mga yan, kahit na bumabaksak ang stocks, ay talagang cool lang, chill lang. Like for example, one of my lodi, si MVP, Manny V. Pangilinan, isa pa rin isang lodi ko na talagang real rich. Kahit yung stocks niya, ng company niya ay bumabaksak, chill lang siya. Sinabi nga niya I cannot sell. Sabi niya, if I sell, everybody will sell. Tama nga naman. So sinabi niya, alam mo, when the market is down, there's only one way. It's to go up. You just need to learn how to wait. Never allow feelings to dictate. Let's go to number 6. A sixth thing that I've learned from the real rich is this. They don't allow money to control them, but instead, they learn how to control money. What do you mean by that? Nakokontrol ka ba ng pera? Yes. So, like for example, you make already bad decisions based on your feelings and then based on not on your values, but based on opportunities. So to the point, you compromise already your values. Ika nga, nandadaya ka na, nanlalamang ka na, niloloko mo na ibang tao para kumita ka pa more. That is a wrongdoing. That is what, yun nga yung sasabi. Parang especially, I hope you understand, especially in business. Sana maintindihan nyo kung kayo po ay nagnegosyo. The foundation of business is trust. When there's no trust, there's no business. Broken trust, broken what? Business. Tama? So, very important po na kailangan po na when you make decisions, it must be based not on an opportunity, but it must be based on values. Kung ano yung tama. Para magkaroon ng tiwala. Di ba? And then, yun po. Kaya nga, ang nangyayari niya, nakokontrol ng pera yung mga ibang tao. Lumalabas po ang pagkaano, di ba? My precious. Di ba? Si Gollum. My precious. Lumalabas po ang pagkaano, the Lord of the Rings. So, in order for you to know that you can control your money, simple lang, di ba? You know how to make decision based on the right values. Let's go to number 7. The seventh thing that I've learned from the real rich is this. They know the purpose of money. Wow, ang galing nito. I love this. Alam po nila ang purpose ng pera. Ang purpose ng pera ay number 1 is to become a tool. When you say a tool, what's the purpose of a tool? What's the purpose of a ladder? What's the purpose of a chair? To make your life better and easier. Tama? So likewise, what's the purpose of money? To make our life better and easier. How will you know if the money that you're earning, you're using it the right way? Simple. If the money that you're earning is making your life better and easier, it means that you're using the right way. But if the money that you're earning is making your life harder and worse and more difficult, you're using it the wrong way. Yan ang unang purpose ng pera, is pampagaan ng buhay. Second purpose of money of the real rich, which I've learned from them, is what? To help others. Hindi lang gumaan ang buhay mo, dapat pagaanin mo rin ang buhay ng ibang tao. Hindi ka lang pinagpala ng Diyos para ikaw ay mabuhay ng pagpapala, para ikaw ay maging pagpapala sa ibang tao. The reason why you and I are going to be blessed, that's the real rich knows. Real rich knows because what? They know that they should become a blessing to others. Yan ang purpose ng pera. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 things that I've learned from the real rich. Please bear with me. Napakaganda ng session na ito. They don't only work hard, but they also work smart. Yeah. Oo. Yes, you and I need to be hardworking. Kailangan pursige tayo. Talagang kailangan magbanat tayo ng buto. Katulad ng ginagawa ko kahit holidays na. Recording pa rin. But I should also work smart. When you say work smart, di ba, kailangan po you should learn how to leverage. Hindi lang pwede ikaw lahat. Di ba? It's not how hard you work, it's how smart you work. Di ba? Hindi lang pwedeng hataw-hataw. Katulad ng, for example, di ba, karpintero ka. Hindi ka pwedeng forever maging karpintero. That's working hard. But it's not working smart. Why? Darating ang panahon, di ba? yung karpintero, mawawalan ng lakas. Tatanda ka rin. Pag nagkasakit ka, hindi ka nakikita. So kung ikaw karpintero, dapat work smart ka. Anong gagawin mo? Gagalingan mo. Create a brand. Pagkatapos nag-create ka ng brand, alamin mo lahat para all around ka na. Pag all around ka na, bubuo ka na ng grupo. Pag bumuo na kayong grupo, pwede ka na mag-contractual. Di ba? Mag-hire ka na ng mga ibang tao. Papackage mo na. Pag pinackage mo na, ikaw na babayaran, may kita ka ng komisyon. That's working hard and working what? Smart. Let's go to number 9. The 9th thing that I've learned from the real rich is this. They never stop learning. Yes! Ibang klase talaga. Hindi talaga sila tumitigil sa kakaaral. Alam mo, one quote that I've learned is what? You're only going to be good as you get. You cannot what? Be better than yourself. 'Di ba? Kung ito lang alam mo, kunyari level 1 to 10 hanggang number 5 ka lang, you cannot rise up beyond number 6. Hanggang 5 ka lang. And then, isa pang naiintindihan ko, your income will only grow if you grow yourself. Kung gusto mo kumita ng level 7, kailangan umakyat ka ng level 7. And you cannot earn more than what you know. Kung alam mo lang hanggang 7, hindi ka kikita ng number 10. Tama? So, very important po. That's the reason why up to this very day, I keep on learning. I read books. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I ask smart people, successful people than me. Why? Because I don't want to stop learning. Number 10. The 10th. Okay, ito na yung last. 10th thing that I've learned from the real rich is what? They make money to make more money. I will repeat. They make money to make more money. Name me one billionaire right now na iisa lang negosyo. Di ba? Name me one billionaire. Nung kumita na, tumigil na. Hindi. They keep on building. Like for example, yung mga idol ko, Henry C., the late Henry C. Ilan ng malls? Jollibee Food Corporation, di ba? JFC, ilan ng malls? Tuloy-tuloy, ay ilan pa yung mga restaurant, tuloy-tuloy pa rin. Pinurchase pa nga nila yung Chowking, pinurchase pa rin nila yung di ba? Ay yung mga Red Ribbon, pinurchase nila lahat. They keep on what? Creating more businesses. Another one, si Lucio Co of Pure Gold, my client also. Imagine mo, every year yan. Ang goal nila is 10 branches a year. 10 branches a year. So they invest their money to create more what? Businesses, to create more money. So, yun yung importante. Kaya nga tayo po, okay mga friendship, let me speak to you right now. Kung may pera ka, huwag mo lang ilagay sa bangko. Bangko is for safekeeping. But your money will never grow. It will depreciate in value. The goal of money in the bank is to make it what? Grow. To make more money. I hope that you like this video. If you do like this video, please also share this video with other people. Don't forget to click subscribe and don't forget to click the bell button. This is Chinky Tan saying, to every problem, there's always a solution. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Always. Think positive. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you want to keep on growing and to stay inspired, subscribe and hit the bell button to get notified. Always think positive.